Well, I'm out here on the Appalachian Trail. I about 50 days since I started Katahdin, and I wanted just to go over some of the gear that I've used and how it's worked out. I'm going to talk about my pack first, and then some of my other gear in some other videos. So the pack that I purchased was this is the Osprey Atmos 50. I've noticed that the Osprey packs are very popular. I see a lot of people hiking with them, some through hikers as well as people sectioning and doing day hikes. I've been very happy with this bag so far. It's held up pretty well. I like it a lot. This is a 50. This weighs about 3 pounds 4 ounces. It has about, this is a large one. It has about 3,200 cubic 3,200 cubic inches of space. I unfortunately I do have it. It is almost too small. I did have to kind of when it's fully packed, it's very the pack is totally full. I mean, when I have 5 or 6 days worth of food in it, it's packed very tight. It does have enough, I'd say, for a through hiker. At one point I did have almost 10 days worth of food in here, and when that's the case, it stands very high. You can pack it, with the head bag very high, so it looks like it's overstuffed, but it's worked out well. Some of the issues I've had with it are they're basically on this bag. There's one main compartment and then a couple of smaller ones. You've got your main bag here, which is just a single large compartment inside. When that's packed full, which I have to pack this very full to get all my stuff in here. These compartment bags, these zip bags on the outside, are difficult. It's difficult to put anything of any real size in here. I'm going to pack this bag and then show you how I packed it and show you what I'm able to keep in here. But one of the problems I had was when I first got it, I was trying to figure out how to pack everything, and unfortunately I damaged this zipper here because I had overpacked the inside and I tried to put something into the compartment that didn't quite fit. The zipper, though, it's still working. I'm 400 miles in, but there is some damage to this zipper from the fact that the interior was packed too tight. So if you get the 50 and you're trying to pack it, just be careful of putting things in here. You really don't want to force things into these outer slots. I'm going to unzip this. Let me see if I can. Hang on. Let me see how I can do this here. You see, you've got basically a little pouch here. These are open to the other side. There's one on either side of these. This zipper did eventually break. It popped. I mean, it's got a string on it, or cord on it, so you can still open and close it. It still works, still functional. But be leery of these zippers. This one has broken. Again, I'm 400 miles in. As far as things go, there's been no damage to the material. I have cleaned it a couple of times. It's holding up well. There's no ripping or tearing of the fabric on this. It's well designed. It's well, it's good, strong material. I typically keep a couple of packets in here of just like my a couple of Ziplocs with my toilet paper, my denatured alcohol, which I carry in a little bottle. In here, over here, I've been keeping some small bottles with like olive oil, petroleum jelly, cotton balls. I don't carry very large things in this because the bulk of my gear is in the main pouch. This expandable pouch here, I found is very good for keeping water in, because I keep my platypus bladders in here, and I usually go with 1 liter a 1 liter bottle at any time. When I get to camp at night, I'll take out my 2 liter and fill that up, and then generally empty that before I go out the next day. So I usually don't carry a lot of water with me. On the AT, you really don't need to carry a lot of water as a rule. There are a couple sections like New York where you might have to carry more. But this is where I keep most of my water, and I'll also put my trash in here so I can stick stuff in here during the day as some snacking and stuff like that. One thing that is also worn on this so far is, I mean, this is the only real thing that's worn. This little mesh thing here has kind of come undone, but you know, that's minor. That really has no effect on the functionality of the bag at all. Now, another thing I liked about this pack a lot is the frame. I think it's very, you sort of a look at it here. It's got this mesh here, and it's got some metal here. I really enjoy this a lot. I think that it's very comfortable. It feels really good on your back. I've recovered from a broken back and have an injured collarbone, and this has been very comfortable for me. So there are some ultralight bags that don't, where you can take the frame out, or they have a really minimalist frame. I do like having a very articulated and very good and strong frame. So that's a great thing about these Atmos packs. I mean, these Osprey packs, is they do have a very good frame. There's some Velcro in here. You could probably there's a space for a bladder inside. I don't use a hydration bladder, but you can put your hydration bladder in here. But again, I don't carry that much water. I only carry generally a liter at a time. There's also this head bag here, which has a little fastener. Where is it? I just keep my knife on here. Just have a little knife here. The head bag's great. I generally carry my AWOL in here, my Appalachian Trail Guide, and my toiletries, and my med kit. Also my bug net, my head bug net, my spork, things like that. Things that I'm going to want to keep track of and not want to have floating around in my pack. So the head bag's good. It's also on this model. I guess there are some models of the Osprey, specifically the Atmos, where the head bag is not detachable. You can detach this, and initially I thought it would be great to use this as sort of a day pack, but you're sort of carrying. It's sort of more like a purse. I mean, you don't. I guess you could probably loop this together and use it as some sort of carrying strap. You could use the straps and improvise some sort of shoulder loop, but then it's not really a backpack. It's more of a purse. And then you've got this internal mesh compartment. This is where I usually keep my my rain cover, and I keep a pen in here with some duct tape on it. But again, if you want, you could get rid of this head bag, and maybe reduce your weight a little bit, and just cinch up the bag at the top. I've seen people do that. Some other things. The strap system on this, I really like a lot. It's very easy to use. You've got your waist strap here. This cinches very easily. It's very easy to loosen and tighten this. You've got a good sternum strap up here. I usually don't adjust this very much, but you also can adjust the spread of the shoulders by moving up and, let's see if I can actually do it. By moving the sternum strap will actually move up and down, and you can adjust the spread of the straps, to make them wider or narrower depending upon how you want it. I have mine jammed all the way up, but you can. I can't really do this with one hand, but you can move this down and adjust the spread of the shoulders, depending upon what your comfort is. These straps here will tighten up the shoulder straps, which is great. There's also a good feature here. You're able to pull the frame closer to your back by tightening these straps. This is very important, a very important strap to be aware of. Initially, when I started out, I did not have this fastened at all, and so the frame was hanging off my back, and it was kind of uncomfortable, and I couldn't quite figure out what I was doing wrong. Fortunately, I met somebody who showed me how to do it. But if you get this pack, just be sure to remember to to fasten these straps up here to make sure that the frame is tight on your back. So, you know, aside from the zippers, it's been very good. One other thing I've noticed with this pack, if you notice, there's this mesh here. Well, it's not really a mesh. Well, I guess it is a mesh. There's this fabric here that's very tight. This is very tight, and this is very crucial because this is what's holding the frame together. The way this pack will sit, though, if you put it down, it's going to sit right there on this corner here. And if the pack comes forward like that, you can see the points where this pack is going to contact the ground are going to be right here and also up here. And if you look closely, you can see that, you know, after 400 miles there is some wear here, and I'm a little concerned about this. Remember, this is very tight fabric, so wear somewhere here. Also here, you can see that there's some wear on this. This actually is getting kind of severe. What I've done in the past, what I started to do is put duct tape over this. Actually, when I first got the pack, I noticed that this fabric was very tight, and that these were the primary points of contact here. There is some wear along here, which I've been using duct tape on, but it hasn't really solved the problem, you know, entirely. Again, this is a very light pack, 3 pounds 4 ounces. I can only assume that this issue, if you will, was not, you know, they could probably have solved this by adding some reinforcement here, but that potentially could up the weight of the bag. I think if they are going to redesign it, they might want to consider looking at this as a potential area where they could work on these bags. You know, like all hiking equipment, from my understanding, none of this hiking equipment is really designed for thru hikers. I mean, there is some out there on the market that is designed for thru hikers, but you know, these bags are designed for people who will go up maybe a couple weeks a year, not people who are going to be out for months on end and giving some rough use to the bag. I have, you know, if you are a thru hiker and you see this, you should be aware that if you do have problems with any Osprey product, you should contact them, contact the manufacturer, and they are generally pretty good, from what I've heard, about replacing damaged products. You know, you should definitely call them, because I have heard that they will replace things. Mine has not gotten to that point yet, but I'm concerned about this wear in this area here, you know, on the corners, basically, the back of the bag, because this wear potentially could lead to a point where there could be a tear. You know, and I can see that there is some stitching here, which potentially, if there were a rip here, potentially would hit this seam, and that seam would prevent any tearing or wear from getting into the rest of the material. And there is some reinforcement here. This is reinforced down here, but again, if you look, it's already gotten through the material. Now, in addition, this bag does have these little pockets on the hip belt. You know, you maybe put your bug spray in here, your keys, your knife, something, a headlamp in here. I generally don't use them. I just keep stuff in my head bag. But I've really enjoyed this bag so far. I think it is technically an ultralight bag, and I like it because it seems I haven't had a lot of experience using other ultralight bags, but it seems that this bag, the material is very durable, and so far it's been great. I've hiked with people who've had the 65, which has a larger capacity. The reason why I wanted to get a 50 is because I didn't. If I got a 65, I'd end up putting more things in it. The straps and the frame on this, on the 50, are rated up to about, I think the upper end for this bag is about 45 to 50 pounds. Anything over 50 pounds, you're going to start having problems with the frame. It potentially could break. So, you know, having this bag means you're limiting yourself in the amount of weight that you can carry. if you have the 65 can hold up to maybe 65 pounds, another 10 or 15 pounds. But if you're through hiking, you're going to want to be light anyway. My base weight of my pack, which includes an iPad and a big Mophie battery, is about 30 pounds. Without the iPad and the Mophie, it would be like 24. But it's something I like to have is an iPad and a battery so I can recharge my phone and my iPad. But you're going to want to have a lower base weight with this bag, and it's been great so far. So I'm going to pack this bag up, and then I'm going to show you how I have it packed. And then I might very well do another video just about the gear that I've used and how it's worked out and my thoughts about that. So here's my bag packed. I don't have my food bag in here, but you can see what it looks like here. I got an El Cheapo Ridge Rest, which weighs about 8 ounces or something, which works fine for me. I like having it as a rear bumper if I fall on my butt. This is nice and big and cushy. And then I've got my Tevas. I've mentioned in a couple other videos, I really think it's important to have shoes like this as opposed to flip-flops or even Crocs, because these you can go for. I went for 140 miles in Tevas in Maine over rather rough terrain. And these do not weigh a lot more than Crocs. These weigh barely more than a pair of Crocs. And what you get in exchange for that little bit of weight is a pair of shoes that you could hike the entire Appalachian Trail in. I don't think you could do the same thing in Crocs. Maybe you could. I'm sure there are people who have. There are people who've hiked it barefoot. But I like having a good pair of sandals that I can wear, and I know I can wear for a long time. So that's the outside. Shoes hanging here. My bedroll there. On the outside here again, I just keep my platypus in here. I have two. What I usually keep my water in 1 liter. I've also got let's see, my Sawyer Mini, which honestly I have not used very much. In Maine, I didn't filter very much at all after the first few days because the water was very good. I just use common sense. You want to drink cold running water where there's there should be plants growing in the material. If you see frogs and whatnot living in the water, it's probably going to be healthy enough to drink. Not that you see a lot of frogs in springs, but you just use common sense. I know I'll be using this again when I get a little further south. I also do have the back flush for it because I just thought it'd be a good idea to carry in case other people need it. It's my 2 liter, which I use for camp. I fill this up and use it for cooking and whatnot. And then this is also, let me get the flush up. So this is the back flush for the Sawyer Mini. And I don't think you have anything else. Oh yeah, the thing with the Sawyer is that it comes with its own bladder, but you're gonna find that this bladder ruptures and breaks and it starts to leak. I keep it anyway, just as another thing that I can carry water in, but I really can't filter with this. So if you get a Sawyer, I would definitely just automatically buy 2 platypuses, because you're not going to be doing any. This lasts me a couple of weeks at best. Something that Sawyer should maybe consider is partnering with these guys and having a much more durable bladder to go along with the Mini. But anyway, so that's this exterior package for my water. These little side pockets again. I'll show you what I kind of keep in here. It's not very big at all. The stuff I keep in here, I have my cotton balls and petroleum jelly to help me start fires, because I have a wood stove. Tabasco sauce, olive oil, sugar, tea tree oil, stuff like that in here. Over on this side, I've got my TP and some denatured alcohol, because I also have a backup alcohol stove. Got my bivvy on the outside here. This is a North Face backpacker bivvy. I've used it quite a bit. It's turning out well. And a good idea if you're hanging anything on the outside of your pack, use a carabiner. Attach the carabiner to the pack or tie this directly into the pack, because you're apt to lose things that are hanging off the side. Not that that's ever happened to me or anything like that. Up here you got my head bag. head bag where I keep things like my AWOL and my AT passport, because I like collecting all those AT stamps. I'm goofy. My spork, light my fire, titanium spork, great. Toiletries like Gold Bond, toothpaste, chapstick, or this is actually Burt's Bees lip balm, some earplugs, dental floss, some moisturizer cream in case I get burned or something. Here's my medical kit. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but iodine, sterile pads. I actually have some foam tape, which is good for blisters, taping up blisters. Some moleskin in there, some Neosporin, and some ibuprofen. Tons of ibuprofen. Corncob pipe. Needs to say indispensable. My bug net, my head net for my bug stuff. Seed Summit Insect Shield. This has been good, but I haven't used it a lot because I've been up in the elevations and the whites lately. A little camp towel. This is actually something I rarely use, but it's so light and small. I'm gonna keep it because occasionally I do use it. So my headlamp. This is a $12 headlamp from REI. It's very basic. It only has a white light, but obviously you can adjust the lumens on it by putting your fingers over it, so you don't blind people in the shelter and the lean-to at night. There are more expensive Petzls and Black Diamonds that you can get. There's one that has a USB that you can plug in. This works for me. $12. This is just they sell this up in New Hampshire, Maine. It's White Mountain DEET-free insect repellent. It has cedar oil, mint oil, citronella oil, and it's mostly the majority of it's like 85% corn oil. This works very, very well for keeping bugs off. It smells okay. It doesn't smell bad. I have no problem putting this on my face. I use this often at night. I'll put DEET on in the morning, spray it around my arms and legs, my clothes. But this is what I'll put on my head and face when I go to bed, because this works very well at keeping bugs away. But as far as I know, it's only sold up in the Northeast in New England. White Mountain DEET-free insect repellent. Costs about $6 or $7 for a bottle. And of course, I also have Ben's, this stuff, which works really well. 100% DEET. And then I've got, I had a little Gerber folding knife that sadly got dispossessed by me out of carelessness. I lost it. But I picked up this knife at a fishing supply outfitter. It's mostly for cutting fishing line. It costs about $2. It has a lanyard to attach to your keyring. This has been fine. I don't do a lot of cutting, of meats or anything, but this edge is perfectly fine for all the purposes that I've had to use a knife for out on the trail. You could argue that you need a bigger knife in case of a situation where you need it, but this has been fine. And again, it's $2. It's very light and tiny. It's worked out fine for me, and I can just loop it into this little fob that's built into the pack. That's my head bag. On the underside of the head bag is I keep in here my rainfly, a pen. I'll just show you the pen because that's kind of a good idea. This pen here, you can use a pen. You can wrap some duct tape around it, and it serves another use. So if you don't lose your pen, you don't lose your duct tape. So I do that. Keep some glue shots in here. These are cliff shots, just like glue shots. They're very good. I like them. So that's my head bag. Let me flip this back over here. Now, again, the Osprey has basically one main compartment, and the way that I have it organized here, I don't want to have the TV too much in the background. I usually keep my raincoat on top. I've got an Elo Bean Ascent Pro Shell. It's very high grade Gore-Tex. It's heavy, but it's very warm, and it's kept me nice and toasty. This is the Elo Bean Ascent Gore-Tex coat. Been very good so far. I usually have my food up here on top as well, but I just have my clothes here in a Sea to Summit bag. This is only an 8 liter, which is kind of tight to cram it in. But usually when I'm hiking, like this has all my socks. I have just my camp clothes on now, but this is usually a little bit smaller when I'm hiking. And I'll go through that in another video. Now in my bag I also have my Tyvek sheet, which I use in the lean-tos. I also use it as a ground sheet when I put out my bivy bag. So this is my ground sheet, basically, a piece of Tyvek's. You can buy kits that allow you to add these little ties, so you can stake it out or tie it out if you want. I never actually tied it out. I just use it as a ground sheet. Now I sort of use my iPad as a divider. I have a Griffin. This is a rubberized. It's rubberized, and there's also a plastic sheet over the screen of the iPad. This has held this together very well. I've had no damage to the iPad, which is rare for me because I had 2 other iPads that I got pretty much totally destroyed. I cracked the screens on them. But this Griffin, let me see if you can actually see the Griffin logo. This Griffin protective case is very good. It's expensive though. This costs about 50 or 60 bucks for the case, I believe, at Walmart. But it's worked out very well. And you know, people will say you're crazy for having an iPad. You could have a Kindle, but this is a Kindle. It's also, I have Skype off of it. I have gut hooks on it. I have the ability to use the internet on it. You know, I can actually see the screen. I can type on it a lot better than I can type on my phone. I just like having this. You know, I'm crazy. Whatever. It's my iPad. So you know, I've got my books, my music, got a couple of games. You know, I think I just like this more than just having an iPhone. I could easily get rid of this and get rid of about 2 or 3 pounds worth of weight, but I think it's worth it. You know, I mean, I think it probably would have been better to have a Kindle or a Kindle Fire or something. But again, I like this. So anyway. Now, the bottom of my bag is really not very much stuff. I have my cords and my Mophie battery. Actually, my Mophie battery's down here. There's my Mophie battery. This weighs a ton. This is kind of crazy to carry this around, but I get a number of charges for my phone and for my iPad off of this. And I can charge 2 devices at the same time. I can charge both my iPad and my phone at the same time if I need to. Holds the charge well, but it's heavy. You know, it's 2 or 3 pounds. Probably about 3 pounds. And my cords and chargers, batteries, and things like that in there. Now inside the bag, got my Sea to Summit. This is my cook set. Has a pot as well as my wood stove and a small alcohol stove. I'm going to do a separate video about this. I really, really am happy with this. This has worked out extremely well, and I'm going to do a separate video just about the stove. I've used wood for cooking almost every day I've been out here, even rainy days where you wouldn't expect me to be able to get a fire started. On the days that I haven't, I've used the alcohol stove, and it's been great. And I also have a Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner, which I keep in this little $5 Walmart camp mug, which I like for my coffee. And I think it's helpful just to have something else to cook with, or you know, to keep things in while you're cooking something else, so you can mix things like rice and chicken, or you know, whatever, what have you. And then the rest of my bag is basically taken up by my sleeping bag, which is synthetic. I have a trash bag as a liner, and this is my sleeping bag, which is an extra large. It's an extra large synthetic bag. It's about 4 pounds, but it is extremely, extremely warm. I think if I had my act together a little better, I would have made it into a quilt and taken off the zippers. I believe this is made by Ledge. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a very, very good bag. It's been very warm, and you know, a down bag. It doesn't compress very well, but it fits. And that's pretty much it. So that's my gear, and that's the Atmos 50, which I'm very happy with. You know, I'd highly recommend this bag to anyone through hiking or who likes to do extended day backpacking. You know, the difference between the 50 and the 65 is this 50 is, I believe, rated up to about 45 to 50 pounds worth of gear before you're going to have problems with the straps. The 65 is rated up to 60 to 65 pounds. I believe there's also a 70 or a larger 75 bag. I need to check the Osprey website, but for through hiking, a 50 is pretty much all you're going to need. You know, you can use it. I've used a 50 for up to a 9 or 10 days out. So, you know, just something to think about. If you like to do week-long or 2-week-long hikes, you could use a 50 instead of a 65. So just something to think about. And again, this has been very durable. It's held up well. I'm at the 373 mile mark. I've done about maybe 375, 400 miles with this pack, and it's held up extremely well. So again, I highly recommend the Osprey 50, the Osprey Atmos 50. And I hope this helped you get a better idea of what the bag's about and how it works. Look at their website, and you know, if I get another bag, or if I have the opportunity to be staying with somebody who has another bag, I'll try and do another review of whatever other backpacks I come across while I'm out here.